Hey everybody, Joe here from Analog Man Cave, and you're probably wondering what the hell is this old bastard doing with a D&D 2024-2025, whatever you want to call it, because its releases spanned 2 different years. Handbook. All right, so I played the old 2014 version. I ran a 5 year campaign. I ran multiple games. I played in multiple games for D&D 5e, so I have a lot of experience with it. It's not my favorite cup of tea, but I always call it good enough D&D. You know, that's the way I look at it. D&D 2014, it's like good enough. I'll play it. I won't hate it. My preference is other things, though, right? So I look at that and I'm thinking, well, as you guys know, played a ran a couple of years now. Last couple of two E campaign. It was a good game. It was a good game, and I was incentivized by doing that to actually just write my own damn RPG. So that's what I'm working on now. But you're asking, why the hell did you buy this stupid book then if you're going to write your own damn RPG? It's because I had an idea. Um, the OSR old school Renaissance, the old school gamers and all that. Yeah, we always looking for more people. Despite what you may hear, we're not a bunch of old bastard, old grognards, old people cranky, yelling at clouds from the lawn, wherever the hell that meme is, right? Old men yelling at clouds. We're not like that. We always want more people because we want to play with more people. The people we play with are getting old and dying off, so we need more people in. So we need more of you guys. So if you're watching this and you're a 2024 person or a 2014 person or whatever the case may be, for new school as opposed to old school, we want you to come in. The pool water is nice. It's really nice out here. So what we're trying to do is to get more asses in seats for old school games. So I thought to myself, it'd be interesting. Is what if I used the same structure of classes and all that kind of stuff for the 5e in 2024 to maybe old schoolify it, right? In other words, I'll use the structure of the 2024 handbook and the 2014 handbook and just make, like, for example, the first one I'm going to do is a ranger. I'll make an old school ranger. All right, the way that old school rangers, I think, feel, and I think vibe is the word nowadays. All right, so the vibe of an old school ranger, and drop that into a 5e game. So it's going to be different. It's going to be a different feel, different vibe. I'm going to go back all the classic archetypes, where it came from. The earliest ranger from, I think, a strategic review in 1975, the first version of a ranger, so people could play Aragorn, down into AD&D 1E, second edition, and all that stuff. And I don't think I'll dive into all those splat books, those second edition complete book of Rangers and bullshit, because that's pretty much, I think, the old school ended at the core 2E books, and after those splat books, it kind of that's got a little weird, that's like pre 3E, I call it. So I'm going to take a look at each class and do a rewrite of it, so that it's going to have feats and abilities at certain levels and all that, the things that you're used to, but the things I'm going to give each class are going to be reflective of the old school vibe and feel. That's pretty much what it is. And along with that, it's going to be changing up spells too. All right, so that's going to be an interesting thing as well. I think I'm going to have to rewrite a lot of the spells, and the spells will be a little bit different than what you're used to, but it'll give it a whole different vibe and feel, I think. And once I do that for every single class, I think eventually I'll put each one out on drive through. You guys can pay what you want or whatever. And once I do it for every single class, then basically what I'll probably do is put it all into one book and sell it. You guys could buy it and play a different kind of a game. You can use the same, the core 5e rules, and basically just insert these classes into the 5e system. It shouldn't be a problem. It shouldn't be a big deal. Then you get an old school vibe with 5e. And then maybe later on, you jump into the old school Renaissance type games, the older games. You're kind of used to it. You get the vibe, you get the feel, you get the idea how it works and everything. You jump into OSR games, right? And then maybe, who knows, you might buy my crap. So looking to make a bridge here, right? A bridge between the old school folks and the new school folks, and just figure what the hell, give it a shot. What I'm going to use as a basis of it is the Creative Commons licenses here. Let me share the screen here for y'all. All right. So we have the Creative Commons license here. It's pretty simple. I mean, what you're looking at here is how do I move myself on these screens? I can never figure this crap out. Okay, I just put myself up here. No, damn it. All right, so I have to pull myself over there. I'll figure that out later. Anyway, I'm just going to use these Creative Commons licenses. I'll grab the Ranger, right? I'll figure out what the hell a stat block looks like, and all that sort of thing in terms of abilities and whatnot. Change up the spells, They're going to change up some of the hit dice, things like little things that'll make it a huge difference, I think, in feel and flavor. All right, so you guys could take all or as little as much as you want of it for your own games. It'll be, pay what you want up there, and then eventually I'll put it all together, and you guys could have a substitute sort of a class selection if you want to play old school D&D. All right, I figured I'd give you an example of the vibe and the feel that I'm sort of aiming for here, because this is I have done up a Ranger class for my own system that I'm working on now, as I mentioned. All right, this is the Ranger class for my own system. All right, it just gives you an idea. This is not the 5e version. This is what I'm writing for my own system. Is like a 1e, 2e, 5e hybrid. All right, monster there. But this is something that I'm putting together. All right, so now, in this one, you can use all light and medium armor and shields. You can use all weapons. I'm bringing back that you have to learn a new weapon. You can't just have access to every single weapon at first level. You got to learn a new one. So weapon proficiencies, right? Back in the old days, Rangers had 2d8 hit dice. So I'm starting out everybody with 12. Then after that, they're 1d8. Okay. I start in first level. Everybody gets max hit points. But the real meat of it, you have skill points, base attack bonus for each level. You have skill points to distribute. We have saving throw points up here to distribute. I have 5 different saving throws in my game, right? And then you have abilities, all right? So the skill points get put into abilities. You get starting points, and then you could assign them. You get some different racial modifiers and some ability score modifiers for certain things, all right? Then armor adjustments for moving, tracking, hear noise, things like that, right? But here's the meat of it I wanted to show you guys. So they get to move and hide. There's no stealth, right? In my game, in the 5e version, I'll probably make this stealth, right? Climbing, they get like a thief, but natural environment outside. Skill rolls, DM always does the move silently, hide in shadows and hear noise. The player does not climb walls. Again, this is my game, my system that I'm working on, but I'm going to take some of these concepts because I did dive into the old school stuff, being playing for 41 years in order to make this. Surprising others, they're going to get surprises, bonuses to surprise others if they're in the wilderness. They could chance to delay or neutralize poison if it's a natural poison. That goes back to the Aragorn thing, obviously, right? Pass without trace in the woods, wilderness alertness. Basically, if you're with a party out in the wilderness or whatever, they have the whole party has a better chance to not be surprised. You could surprise other people by ambushing them if you're alone or with others. All right, so that's kind of cool. Let's see, chuck and attack. It's where you basically like a handheld weapon, a javelin or a spear or a dagger or a throwing axe. You could run into combat, throw it, and then still attack. You could set your spear against an enemy, like boar hunting. That goes back to, I think, it's an old fighter ability. You could fight monsters of lesser ability, basically less than 1 hit dice monsters. You get double your attacks per round. Battlefield healing is basically where you could heal people on the battlefield right after the battle, patch them up a little bit. You have some grit. You could basically, running, like Aragorn running. He kept running and running and running and try to find the hobbits, right? With Gimli and Legolas. So that sort of thing. Hometown advantage. You can't get lost if you're in the wilds, if you're chosen home territory, and that expands. You can hunt and trap. You got some cantrips here, and then you got your spells. Again, though, this, as I was saying, is my system that I'm working on, right? But it gives you an idea of some of the flavor I'm going to be shooting for. Now, a lot of you are immediately going to say, well, holy crap, if this is all you're going to do, you're going to take away abilities, right? You're going to make them less powerful. How is he going to stack up against a ranger who's blah, 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 has all these different things? This is not a thing for min-maxers, all right? That's one thing to make very clear. You're not getting this ranger subclass or kid or whatever the hell you want to call it, alternate ranger, to compete against other type of ranger builds to see who does more DPS, right? You're not to see who's the better tank, who's the better pet class, who's the better, get rid of all the MMO garbage and all the video game nonsense that has sort of been incorporated into D&D lately. Got to get away from that. What you're looking at here is a feel, a vibe. Okay, so what I'm giving you is an old school ranger vibe within 5e rules. That's what you're going to get. Okay, and eventually you may want to play. You may want not. You could take and pick and choose different things. You may use this, this ranger and say, you know what, I don't like any of it except these 2 abilities are pretty cool. I'll talk to my DM about putting those into his game, and maybe I could, choose some of those or make my own up or something like that. That's fine. That's fine. The more I could spread the old school mind virus out there, the better. Right. So I think that's no big deal either. I'm going to change up some of the spells too to make a more old school feel and vibe and just add new ones. So, and also going to back in the old school Rangers, they had access to wizard spells. I'm going to make that an option as well. So a lot of stuff percolating up here. I'm writing, taking notes, and gonna figure it out. But I'm hope to get something out there for you kind of soon, within a week or two, so you guys can take a look and see what it's all about. The Rangers first, and then I'll do all the old school classes, anything that has a parallel. So that means no sorcerers and no warlocks or anything like that. But you're gonna get all the basic old school classes: Ranger, Fighter, Thief, Cleric, Magic User, Illusionist, all that sort of thing. So I think you'll like it. I think you'll like it. I think it might make a nice bridge between the old school and the new school folks. And like I said, maybe once it's all done, you take a look at it, and I'll just put it all into one book. You buy it, and you could run an alternate old school 5e game for yourselves. Right. So hope you like it. Keep watch this space, as they say, or keep an eye out. I'll be putting it out over the next couple of weeks, I think, guys. Okay. So thanks very much for watching, and please do like and subscribe. It matters a lot, apparently, for the algorithm. YouTube's not spreading it around, I heard, unless you do stuff like, subscribe, click all these things. So do me a favor and do that if you like the video, and subscribe to watch out for further updates. All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.